regions of human experience, in particular, the desire to inflict pain on another human being. She makes a distinction between physical and emotional pain. Unlike physical pain, which has no meaning and no value, psychological suffering does have referential content, so much so that there is virtually no piece of literature that is not about suffering. Physical pain, she argues, is asocial and pre-conscious, while psychological pain is part of the social experience of the mind. Many people have argued with the absoluteness of this distinction on many grounds: linguistic, medical, experiential. Right now, that distinction doesn't seem so absolute to me either. I am not an expert in the worlds of physical pain. I hope I never will be. I've never been stoic. My experiences have all been temporary. Minor accidents, migraines, illnesses, childbirth, psychological pain, emotional pain. They abide intimately in my body, in the smell that clings to my clothes and sheets, in the smoky oils in my hair, in my addictions, in the toxic narratives that I wind around myself, consciously and unconsciously, to protect myself. Now all those narratives are torn open, and here, in the middle of the splintering, I no longer recognize myself. It's as if the self I have known, through myself, through others, is suddenly harshly illuminated from a new angle. All shadows fled. I see the histories that I have denied all my life, the wounds that I have ignored, the pain that I never acknowledged. We speak of these things in metaphor. The heart, that smoothly muscled pump, can be pierced and torn. Its valves can malfunction. Its arteries or muscles can bulge and burst. It is an absurdity to say of this fleshly organ that it can break, as if it were made of bone or ice. But we all know what someone means when they say, "My heart is broken." My heart is broken. But now I understand that it always has been broken. Once upon a time, I began another story with "Once upon a time." I knew much less then than I do now. I was more hopeful and more deluded, and almost certainly I had less compassion. Now I am more angry, less hopeful, and both more and less certain. Even though I know that progress is a myth, I like to think I'm a better person than I was, or at least a more knowledgeable person. I am quite possibly exactly the same as I was 20 years ago, in the same way that a fountain, which is always spilling different water, is always the same fountain. Yet I am convinced that something has changed. It feels fundamental. How does one measure change, especially in something as uncapturable as one's own self? Does a shift in perception count as change, in any case? I think of the aging Buster Keaton in Samuel Beckett's only movie, Film, an exploration of George Berkeley's pronouncement that to be is to be perceived. Keaton, 18 months from his own death, plays O, a man who is evading, more and more absurdly, the tyranny of being seen. But he is also escaping the tyranny of being. If to be is to be perceived, then not to be perceived is an extinction. The camera's indifferent eye stalks O with his head hunched down, his hat over his eyes, flinching away from the gaze of others as he hurries down a street, up a flight of stairs. At last he escapes to his room, where surely he will be safe. But no, a cat and a dog are looking at him, a parrot, a goldfish.